today we're going to be reviewing a movie under the radar. I mean, it's kind of
real dinger of a movie. I thought it was quite the interesting ride. The movie Hosts, plural, 2021, I believe it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Written and directed by Adam Leader and Richard Oakes. It is.
I'd say it starts off with a bang. I think where this movie shined was the acting, but there's some things that they just couldn't help but hit you over the head with.
Yeah.
Like
Michael, whenever you make a funny you move up your body when you do that.
I'm so excited about this movie.
They're gonna hit you on the head. I'll tell you what. The first part of this movie starts you off with an intro of the kind of the setup. They show you like the people that are in the movies. Dude, a 2-minute intro of them flowing out of that hole in the ground, and I wanted to blow my freaking brains out.
Yeah,
I was like, wrap it up, buddy.
You gotta turn off your
you got
head for a little bit.
You got like a 20-minute.
That's an intermission. You gotta go get some snacks.
Dog, it was the first 2 minutes of the movie. I'm sitting there just like watching like the slow drawn out shot of them leaving this hole, and I kept thinking, man, I wonder if they're going to put any of these credits in the end of the movie, in the 20-minute credit scene they're going to have. Or do I have to watch... you only get this part? It started off with one of our main characters, Jack, and he was some type of a train conductor of some sorts. And they had... I love the shots they were doing in that part of the movie where he was kind of walking out of the train for his shift, and it's this real long take of him walking down the middle aisle of the train cars, and I thought that was quite cool. That was fun.
And then doesn't it just go from there to him meeting his neighbor out in the field?
Yep, yeah. I believe what's his name, Michael, or
yeah,
I believe so. Yeah, I think the dad's name is Michael, and they just have a quick short conversation where Jack has been invited to Michael's
Christmas dinner.
Michael's Christmas, and you get like a real chummy vibe from these guys. They definitely seem like good friends.
Yeah, people that would just not do anything bad to each other, just enjoy each other's company,
Nothing weird.
Nothing weird going on.
Nothing weird. And it's a good start to the characters. And then a little bit of a spoiler alert.
Boing, boing, boing.
So Jack, the main character we've been introduced to right now, comes home and he meets his girlfriend or wife, Lucy. Mm-hmm. And Lucy and Jack turn out to be one of our big hurdles that our actual main characters have to deal with. Them as a couple, cute but cringe. Is that how I would describe it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're kind of like
he kept
weird.
calling her puppy.
Oh, I missed you.
Oh, I missed you too, you crazy Christmas puppy.
But that's just a British thing. You don't know that. It's just normal.
And he told her to sit. And pointed and did that, but sit.
For all you know, there could be two furry suits in the closet next to him. That's just how they talk to each other.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I was looking for the tail coming out of her pants, dude. I don't know what to tell you. It's hard when you have two people who, for the most part, probably strangers, try and act like they're in love, and it's kind of like this. It's a weird perspective of relationships, and I think they do a good job. But thank God that these two characters did leaps and bounds better acting like killers than they do lovers. Because later, Jack and Lucy, the way they portray those characters when things ever really pop off were just phenomenal for me.
Then there's a noise outside, and Lucy's like, hey, I go check that out. I swear I saw something. She saw something out the window, and it appeared to be like a blue light. And he was like, what's going on? And he's kind of scared too. But he needs to check it out. Mm-hmm. So he goes and checks it out, and it doesn't really reveal too much. It goes back to Lucy, and he hasn't been back yet.
Yeah, he goes outside and he doesn't find anything. So he went back into the house and he's like, well, where's Lucy? She's not calling for him. And he walks into their bedroom and Lucy's spazzing out on the bed, just like, oh my God, with a blue light shining out of her mouth and her eyes. And then that cuts the scene and we go to a nice, quiet, family gathering, or the beginnings of a family gathering, our main cast, so to speak.
Yeah. And for you virgins out there, that's just a little sexual education there for you. When a girl is ready for some action, those are the telltale signs.
Her eyes and her mouth will start glowing blue, and she'll levitate off the bed slightly.
And she's down.
Yep, and then that's how you know she's down. If you don't get that sign, you gotta wait for consent, buddy.
Yeah. So we meet our family.
Yes, it's what is it? Michael, or the father, Cass, the mother, and then Eric and Lauren and Ben. Ben being the youngest is kind of like our ensemble cast. Yeah, no, I mean you get like a lot of nice building scenes of the family and them just kind of like I think that this family or this group of actors in this movie do a lot better of a job selling me that they're family versus the other set of actors playing Jack and Lucy of them being lovers. I thought I felt more into these guys they're family type of a thing. I got that vibe better from them. I think it was good.
We look and the dad is helping the mom cook dinner for a little bit, and then they talk.
You could tell that the mom was wearing a wig because she did this thing where she adjusted her wig. However, I will not stand for us to skip over this scene. And I don't know if you noticed this, Michael. So, Eric is the eldest son of the family.
Okay.
Michael and Eric are chit-chatting on the couch. Michael's like, hey, go get your brother. So Michael goes in and we meet Lauren and Ben, who are playing chess, and Lauren's a little bit distracted because she's got boy trouble. The man really wants to be with her and she's just not feeling it. This isn't what she wants. Eric comes in, playing the big brother part, super, super cool. He picks up Ben, his youngest brother, throws him over the shoulder, not weird. But then there's this one singular shot, and I hope that you can find it and edit it into the video somewhere.
No, I'm sure I will.
Where Eric is straight up fingering this little boy's butt. The angle that they show, his hand is so deep in this actor. This boy's an actor. He's on screen. He's got a hand so deep in there, and I'm looking at it that's a lawsuit, dude. How much?
Well, I'm going to be editing this, and the clip's going to be showing, and it's going to be he's just going to be it's what the? How did I miss that?
It is this insane shot where I'm looking what am I watching right now? What is happening here? I
didn't notice that, but you guys, you'll see it right now.
Yeah,
is it exaggerated? Tell us in the comments.
It looks oddly deep. It looked like an oddly deep grip. I
think any finger near the butt, you could position your hand somewhere else.
And it might be because of the way that he's gripping the pants.
Okay.
But it just,
Is he vibrating too like that? Like that.
Hey, Ben.
Spits on it.
Hey, Ben, how you doing?
They arrive before dinner is served, and I guess Michael the dad has some connection to Jack, where it's
it's his son.
Yeah, but it's I don't know, it's weird.
Yes.
Because it's something unspoken. But you could definitely tell that the words that they shared with each other out in the field before this blue light situation happened, they were very loosey-goosey. It was they were shooting the shit and everything. They were functioning social people. And now when Jack and Lucy get there, they're literally just
stonewalled. Yeah, you would. It's so. I did think. At the time when I was watching it, I also kind of thought this something similar of how does no one here, Lauren, the daughter, Michael, and Cass, the father, and Cass, the mother, are all friends of Jack and Lucy. So, they know them outside of it all.
Yeah.
But, they couldn't tell?
That was the only part that I found unbelievable throughout it. It was come on, what's going on? They should know this. But anyways, they took him down. The dad was Michael was talking to Jack about the TV It was a gift, a family heirloom.
It was an antique.
His father watched it with him and whatever. He was just talking about like bonding with father and son stuff. But this Jack wasn't talking back to him, and he actually went went to this desk, this workshop table, and like messed with this old gun, which is like making sure it was loaded, just like getting ready to go assassinate somebody. Basically,
he's like, hey, I'm gonna need this later.
Yeah. So he gets that ready, and then they go upstairs for dinner.
Mike, the mother's talking about like her health issues, how like the doctors are thinking that have been telling her that she's gonna last 7 months. It's not gonna happen. Yada yada yada, and she's just building up this story, and the whole entire time you're thinking they're playing it off like she's gonna die, and then they're like, just kidding, mother, remission. And the entire time we're watching this movie, we're like, okay, we know that there's something supernatural going on with Jack and Lucy. We know that they came to this house, that something's not right, and then everything just pops off so hard, so fast. The mom, she does the thing where she makes it seem like dire. Yep. Terrible things are happening, but then she kind of like you said, psych, I'm actually in remission. They don't have any trace of cancer, and they're just like, oh God, thank you so much. Oh, and then they just celebrating, and this whole time everyone's having a good time.
Yeah, Jack's away. He stepped away for a minute, but Lucy's there at the table. And this whole time that they're celebrating this new thing, Lucy's just stone-faced like she's been, but she's like more excited. She's like, because she knows what she's about to do. And this whole time beforehand, you see her grab a hammer from downstairs. She has it.
Yeah, she picked it up when they were in an earlier scene.
Yeah, you know that she has it right there. And just the way she's intently looking at her, like she just knows, she's getting so excited. It's like you're hiding at like a Macy's, like in the coat section away from your mom. Just like, oh, you're gonna find me,
dude. And she just starts mincemeating Cass's head in the mother.
My douche!
Yeah, in front of everyone, just 1, 2, 3, and like no one's doing anything.
Yeah, you can blame it on shock, maybe. But I feel like I just run up there and just go, get away from my non-cancerous mom now! Boom! Something.
Well, I would understand like the shock of like the first hit or the second hit, but one thing that this movie does so well is that all of the kills in this movie are very, very brutal.
Yeah,
they're very dark, and like after the first 1 or 2 hits, you're like, well, the first hit, shock. Second hit, shock. Third hit, shock. 4th to 10th hit? Okay, we gotta move something, dude. Someone's gotta do something in this room. We got Ben, the small little boy. He's got a pass. He's like 12 years old. He's not doing anything. His sister Lauren's a grown woman right next to him. Eric's right next to Lucy, who's being his mom's bed in. And Michael, the father, on the other side of the room is just like,
yeah.
Like, somebody.
Intense. Yeah, her head was basically Humpty Dumpty by the end of it.
Jack comes back with the gun.
Yeah, he just bolts in with a gun. It's like, hey, get down! Shut up! Just like basically just like controls everything. And he starts going, I loved his performance in most of this stuff.
Oh, it's his movie.
He channels some crazy weirdness inside of him.
It's Jack's movie. The guy who played Jack, I'm gonna look it up at the end of this review. He ran this.
Yeah.
This is him.
And he gets all like Joker on everybody. He's just, oh yeah, sniffing it, like getting close into their personal space, and just. And
he's like really like, and he's like really brings up like personal things, and it's very mentally manipulative, like, and again, this is another thing that you can tell that this isn't Jack.
Yeah.
Because you can just the flip between how Lucy and Jack, and maybe this is why they made them like they were the beginning scenes, very poppy, very happy, energetic, like puppies. Sorry.
That's okay.
This is a cold, calculating, very intelligent speaking person now. So different than what we've seen beforehand.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. To fast forward, they kind of definitely watch this movie. I recommend it before I give my score. Just on the performance alone, it's kind of awesome. But they round them up and take them upstairs to put them all in their separate rooms. And they're kind of it's a struggle to get there. They put the dad in his room. They put the young boy in his room, and they put the older daughter in one room, and Eric in another room. And when they put the husband in his room, you can definitely tell that there's something in the bed.
Well, like, it wasn't when he got in the room. they made him go to sleep.
Oh.
And then when he woke up, he lifts the covers and they put the mom's body in the bed next to him. And it's just this, it honestly looks like a glob of hair that you pulled out of the drain and you set it in raspberry jam.
Yeah, it was pretty horrific, terrifying. And like, I'm just saying, they didn't even need to show it again. They didn't need to do it, but they did. And I was just like, oh.
They're like, hey guys, remember this?
Yeah, still here.
Lucy has this wonderful monologue that, again, touches base on the subtext that Michael and Jack had in the beginning of the movie and what they talked about in the workshop when they were talking about the TV, you know, about how, and it is later revealed about kind of their history and how Jack at one point was Michael's son, but a son that he did not claim, but then he tried to invite back in later. And we get that scene of Lucy taking the pliers and not pulling her teeth out, mind you. Lucy crushed the teeth with pliers and then just took the teeth shrapnel, spit it into her hand, and gave it to Ben, the 12-year-old kid, and was just like, hey, you hold on to that for later, bud. and then that was the scene. And then I didn't really like the remaining part of this section of the movie.
You didn't like there's one scare. They basically visit each room to see how people are doing. And there's this one part where Jack puts the older daughter in her room, and she has a phone with her, and she calls that one boy that she's having issues with, that she's in a relationship with. And she's like, I need help. I was like, call the police, you idiot. But she chose to call the boyfriend. And she was just like freaking out, still in shock, trying to like tell him everything about it. And this whole time, it starts to zoom out and is like, there's no way. Jack's going to come in any second now or something's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And at one point, they zoom out so you could see underneath the bed. He's right there. He's underneath the bed, just like freaking just sleeping, going like...
But he's mimicking the words out of the phone. So so again, you're kind of looking, okay, is he speaking? Is this Lauren actually talking to her boyfriend, or is this Jack? You know, it doesn't really elaborate too much, and that's kind of why I think I didn't particularly like that part.
Well, it did elaborate because at the end of the conversation, it was both Jack and her boyfriend's voice talking at the same time, and it escalated. So, yeah, and then she knew that he was doing it.
Right, but I was wondering, and we'll talk based on this later. We'll touch back on that. But I was thinking that maybe it could have still been that her boyfriend was eyed.
Oh.
Or torched, as we're going to call it. We're going to say torched. And then that he was just like mentally connected. So that's why I didn't really vibe with... It's not that I hated it or I didn't like it. But like that's what stopped me. Like I kept thinking while that was happening. Mm. I will say though that Lauren left the room after this whole scene, and she's walking down this hallway. Beautiful shot of her walking down this like wallpaper, this red and gold wallpaper hallway. Very, very cool. And there is that scene where Jack's like, and like you look behind, he's like in the attic, and his head just comes back into the attic out of sight. And you're like, oh, geez, that's so creepy. Yeah, that was fun.
They have some good. I think they have some effective scares, for the most part, and that's what and performances. That's really what sold me on the movie, and a lot of the issues that you have with it, I share with the same sentiment.
Yeah.
And we kind of just follow these people, and they try to get out in their own certain way. Fast forwarding, Lucy takes Eric and Lauren upstairs into the attic to basically. She says something. She's drooling. Jack's in there. Somebody's drooling. Yeah. Jack's in there talking, and then you see drool start to.
Yeah, like Lucy's like standing over like Lauren while she's talking, and just like, and like just these. And first off, Lauren is sweating a bucket.
Yeah.
Which,
I mean, a wee bit too.
Adrenaline's not going on. But like, she's just like slime balling this huge glob over. And they gave her the option. Either kill Eric, your brother, while he's asleep. Or, if you wait till he wakes up, we're going to do it. And we're going to do way worse than anything that you can imagine. We will do way worse. You are giving him the easy way out. Mm-hmm. However, the trick of it all was the gun wasn't loaded.
Yeah, he even woke up during it. He woke up after they left, and she was like, I gotta do it. You don't understand. It's like, no, stop. He begged for his life. And she went, click.
Yep.
Ooh. Never-ending tunnel that you're traveling through, and it's on the screen, and when you watch it, you're just like, and go crazy. Just like that.
They start freaking out, and then their eyes start glowing, and then that's when you really start getting these, and they showed it in the previous parts of the movie too. But this is when you like they kind of turns on. They give all these people that are possessed, or they have these creatures or these demons or whatever in you, because it does make it seem like they are demons.
Yeah.
They have this beautiful blue luminescent to their eyes. It's very, very cool. Very cool. I don't know how they did the shot, or like what kind of, like, if it was like a color contact where they did like a lens flare or like a light kind of shining into it to kind of like give that reflection. So cool. And then this is when I kind of got back into the movie. You know, we have Eric and Jack and Lucy, and they're trying to hunt him down. And then Michael kind of finally gets his crap together, and he says, I'm gonna get in this. And that's when everything really escalates.
And they're outside. Lauren goes outside, and this is when you begin to know that they're surrounded. There's more people that have this thing. It's like an event that's taking place outside of this little thing. A ton of people are, and we don't know if that, like, this was the grand plan where, like, they were going to aim for these people, like this was the goal, or if it was just an effect of what was happening outside. But that's why I thought that maybe the boyfriend was also taken over. It could be.
Because
that part I didn't really like. I didn't like how they expanded it. I would have preferred it to be some sort of like little close-knit phenomenon. But the way it's like somehow supposed to be like a big, huge event that's taking place in the whole world. They made it seem like... It
definitely felt like they made it purposely open-ended, because I think they were trying to go for a more like cosmic dread type of a
definitely
feeling.
Lovecraftian inspired.
Like there is no hope. This is a hopeless situation. Like in a small group setting, you might be able to run away and get away from it, but there's nothing for this.
Yeah.
And then the movie kind of plays off like a lot of your standard horror movies at this point. Michael, the father, has to kill Eric, where he gouges his eyes, or strangles him actually. We do get the very disturbing part that when you go to kill somebody with one of those things in them, they actually ditch out of the body before they die. So there's always like this like 1 or 2 second where it's like, no, Dad, it's me.
Yeah.
And that was effed.
That was effed.
That was effed. We get the wonderful scene that I loved where Lauren's kind of walking through the forest, and she's like trying to find a way out, but she knows she's being hunted by these people. And then all of a sudden, you just see in the distance just, and you see Lucy just dead sprinting out of the shadow, just and straight tackles Lauren, and they get in this scuffle. I love that scene. That was another part that really sold me on the third act of this movie. Was just that this was one of the scenes where I'm like, okay, this is very well shot. Like, it was just an interesting shot. It was very Get Out in a sense. There's that scene
the sprinting,
where the grandfather's dead sprints out of the darkness. This was very similar to that, but it escalates into a very violent fight that ends with another really, really brutal killing where Lauren hangs Lucy just for the last second of before, while she's being hung there, the demon ghost monster pops off, says, Lauren, it's me! And then Lauren beats her in the head with a log, dude.
Yeah, it's hard to say because, like, you never know if that person they haven't broke character. It's not like they use this for deception techniques in the past. It's not like they no, it's really me, nothing's wrong. They never did it. So the fact that she's breaking the stone cold character that she's been this whole time might be like, maybe pause for concern, but I figured she's been through so much at this point. There's like,
I understand why Lauren didn't.
Yeah.
Because from a viewer standpoint, this is the first time I was able to see it because of the shot. It was a very dark background in the forest by this tree. You actually see the blue light of the demon leave the body. I didn't really catch that with Eric, unfortunately. Maybe I just wasn't picking it up or whatever. But I get it. Lauren killed her.
Yep.
Jack and Michael get into a fight. And Jack does overpower Michael. And he proceeds to stab him more times in quick succession than I've ever seen in all of cinema. And I've seen a lot of movies. I have never seen a movie that has portrayed a stabbing like that for so long, commit to it, and then them just like straight up just ching 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 ching, like just every single slot you hear, and you're watching just power jack this dude. There's like just straight jackhammer and a knife into his chest.
Yeah, the gore and the kinetic gore for this movie was really high value.
You felt it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but he actually overpowers him. I think Lauren gets in there, and
while Jack is
getting
straight, Lauren stands there for a second, realizes her dad's gone, and then decided to take the moment, like the true last standing woman that she is, and drop a one-liner, "Get fucked," bah! and shoot Jack in the back, ending his life.
And basically ending the movie.
Yeah, we do get that one scene where she gets bent and they're walking out, and then that's when you get the overarching shot of not just the people that we saw earlier that were infected, but like the sky is filled with these blue cloud smokes. And there was even a hint that Ben, his eyes were also glowing, but but the way they did the shot, it was hard to tell if his eyes were glowing blue like he was infected, or if it was a reflection off of
the sky or something.
The skyline. Yeah. So, a very just again very dread type of an ending. There was no hope for Lauren. She was never going to get out of that situation. Mm-hmm. Just definitely a tragic event. But I think all in all, for me, there were some really good shots, I thought, cinematography-wise. I think that the kills in the movie were not... And some of the gore in the movie, not only were they well done, I thought they were not necessarily original, but they felt so real. Like, they felt like there was a lot of impact. Like, every time Lucy hit the mother in the head with the hammer, or every time Jack was stabbing Michael, or, you know, when Michael was strangling Eric, his son, you know, you really feel all that. It feels heavy. Mm-hmm. They have a real good place in the movie. I would go ahead and give this movie definitely a 7 out of 10 for me.
Daddy, chill.
I think that what it did well. The only thing that I could really say is that you could tell that some of the acting was just a little bit too hammy in certain spots. You know, not necessarily cringe factor, but very hammy. And also, I will, just because you did everything else right doesn't mean I'm going to give you a pass. To know a little bit more, just a little bit more information about the monsters and what's happening, the event that's happening, to give more context to what's happening to this family, to create more lore, would have been just absolutely phenomenal for me, and that would have bumped the movie way up for me.
Okay. For me, I enjoyed. I'm not saying the performances were perfect. Mm-hmm. Jack was fun to watch. I'd say all the performances were fun to watch and different.
Jack was a good performance. Everyone else was fun to watch, I guess.
Yeah. And I guess we built some relationships with the characters before they died, maybe making their deaths even more heavy, because they were fun, or like, I guess, wholesome to watch in the beginning. And also that moment being ripped away, basically, was pretty, like, shocking, but
almost funny to us in the moment. Almost funny in the moment. Yeah.
Wow. But, so I think it was very effective in a lot of things it set out to do. However, it failed in the sense of, there's a lot of dialogue or monologues in this. Jack, great performance. Lucy, great performance. But they're monologuing during this, and the stuff that they were saying, it's hard to connect anything or figure out exactly what they're referring to. It's very loose and kind of like, oh, fill in the gaps.
We're definitely on the I think we're on the same page, and just a little bit more sprinkled on top.
Yeah, and also the whole TV with the Neverending Tunnel is kind of lazy for being like existential in any way. It's just kind of some Ring thing. Watch the tape and you're affected, and then it's happening on a grand scale with no rhyme or reason. That could be effective in some cases. However, I think in this instance, it wasn't that effective.
Yep.
So I'm going to have to give it, just to be different, I feel like I've been scoring the same thing as you. I have to go a little bit under and give it a 6. Yep. I did love all those scenes of the shots of the scares. They weren't cheap. And they're pretty creative. Just like Hereditary, you're like, oh yeah, it's
I love how you said more positive things and negative things than I did, and you're giving it a lower score than me.
Because I think the lack of plot... Oh, this is why I decided on 6 when you were talking, is because there's plot holes. There's plot holes that I was like, ooh, that stung me. And it's like, hey, call the police. No, you didn't.
Eric, get your hand out of that child. Call the police.
Yeah. Oh, this guy I was just shooting the shit with in the field before everything. We were talking about just sports and stuff. Now he's not talking to me and he's playing with a gun downstairs.
Yeah, he looks like he also smoked about 100 pounds of meth before he came in. Yeah, so
I do recommend seeing it though, guys.
No, definitely a watch for sure.
Yeah, and
like if you love this, if you love the genre, you love horror movies, this will fit so well in a nice evening. Sit back, turn your brain off a little bit, and just watch a good movie with some really weighted kills, with very little storyline. I mean, this is a movie for the kills.
Yeah, because Cthulhu knows it's hard to find a good horror movie out there, and this is something that you could watch. Definitely. So, thanks for joining us here for the Let's Movie series for hosts.
Take a look, take a watch, and you guys have a great one.